What if I told you that one of the most powerful natural supports for your circulation, especially the circulation that matters most to men over 50, has been sitting in traditional medicine for over 2,000 years, not invented in a lab, not discovered last decade, known, used, and trusted by millions of people long before modern medicine even existed? I'm Dr. James, and today we're talking about something that genuinely excites me. Because the science is remarkable, the history is fascinating, and the impact on men's health is something that doesn't get nearly enough attention. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this herb has stood the test of time, what it does inside your body, specifically inside the arterial network supplying your pelvic region, and why so many men over 50 are quietly rediscovering it. Think about how you felt at 35, at 40. That energy, that drive, your body just working the way it was supposed to. For a lot of men, there's a specific moment, usually in their 50s, when things quietly shift. Not overnight, but gradually certain things don't feel the same. And here's what most men aren't told. A huge part of what they're experiencing traces back to one critical factor: blood flow. Specifically blood flow through the arteries in the pelvic region. That's exactly where today's herb enters the picture. The herb is Panax ginseng. And if you've heard the name before, set aside what you think you know, because most people have only scratched the surface of what this plant actually does at the vascular level. Panax ginseng is a root that takes years to mature before harvest. That slow growth is precisely what makes it potent. The longer it matures, the more concentrated its active compounds become. Those compounds are called ginsenosides, and they're the engine behind everything this root can do. Here's where it gets fascinating from a urological standpoint. Ginsenosides interact directly with your vascular system. They support the production of a molecule called nitric oxide, one of the most important molecules in all of vascular health. Nitric oxide's job is simple but critical. It tells the smooth muscle cells lining your arteries to relax. When arterial walls relax, vessels widen, and blood flows more freely. Now, let's get specific about where this matters most for men. The pelvic region is served by a sensitive network of arteries. The internal iliac arteries, branching into the pudendal arteries, the perineal arteries, and smaller vessels supplying the bladder, prostate, and penile vasculature. The cavernous arteries in particular are some of the smallest and most pressure-sensitive arteries in the male body. Here's what most men don't realize. The cavernous arteries are one of the earliest warning signs for systemic vascular decline. When circulation weakens, these tiny arteries, because of their narrow diameter and high demand, are often the first to feel it. That's why changes in intimate function are frequently a vascular signal, not just an isolated issue. When nitric oxide drops, arterial tone increases, vessels narrow, and blood flow to these pelvic structures is compromised. This is called endothelial dysfunction, and it sits squarely at the intersection of cardiovascular and urological health. The ginsenosides in Panax ginseng, particularly subtypes RB1 and RG1, stimulate endothelial nitric oxide synthase. That's the enzyme your body uses to produce nitric oxide from within the arterial lining itself. In plain terms, ginseng encourages your arteries to produce more of their own natural vasodilator. It supports your body's built-in mechanism for keeping vessels open, relaxed, and well perfused. And the research behind this is substantial. Studies published in andrology, urology, and cardiovascular medicine journals have consistently pointed to meaningful improvements in arterial response when ginseng supplementation is introduced in men with early to moderate vascular compromise. There's also the prostate connection. The prostate, sitting at the base of the bladder, is highly sensitive to blood supply quality. When pelvic blood flow is compromised, you often see downstream effects: urinary urgency, frequency, incomplete bladder emptying. Supporting this arterial network has genuine measurable implications for day-to-day urological comfort. Let me describe a man I hear about constantly, a composite of many conversations, names changed for privacy. Mid-50s, active, not overweight, never smoked, by every external measure, healthy. But quietly, over 2 or 3 years, things have changed. Energy has dipped. He's up 2 or 3 times a night. His intimate life has become a source of quiet frustration, not for lack of desire, but because his body isn't responding the way it used to. He sees his doctor, labs come back mostly normal. He's told it's just aging. That answer doesn't sit right with him. So, he starts digging. He finds the connection between pelvic arterial health and everything he's experiencing. He realizes what's happening isn't random, it has a mechanism, a cause, and potentially a solution. When you understand that the pudendal artery, the cavernous arteries, the prostatic branches, that these vessels are subject to the same endothelial dysfunction affecting the rest of your cardiovascular system, and that this dysfunction is modifiable, that changes everything. You stop feeling like a passive victim of aging and start becoming an active participant in your own health. That shift is exactly what this channel is about. Let's talk evidence, honestly. Multiple studies confirm that ginsenosides stimulate endothelial nitric oxide synthase activity in cavernous tissue specifically. A landmark study in the Asian Journal of Andrology examined Korean red ginseng, Panax ginseng that's been steamed and dried, which increases the bioavailability of key ginsenosides, on men with vascular origin intimate dysfunction. Results showed statistically significant improvements in arterial rigidity indexes and patient-reported intimate function scores, properly controlled, meaningful sample sizes. Beyond the pelvic region, ginseng has also been studied for effects on systemic arterial stiffness. The gradual loss of elasticity in vessel walls, driven by endothelial inflammation and reduced nitric oxide. Studies show Panax ginseng can measurably reduce markers of arterial stiffness in middle-aged and older adults. To be honest with you, the research has limitations. Study sizes vary, dosing protocols differ, product quality is inconsistent. This is not a cure, but as a natural vascular support agent with a legitimate mechanistic basis and a growing clinical body of evidence, it deserves serious consideration and a conversation with your healthcare provider. Here's what you actually need to know to use this intelligently. In studies showing positive vascular effects, Panax ginseng was used at 900 milligrams to 3 grams of standardized extract per day, typically split across 2 doses. Korean red ginseng is the most commonly studied form in urological research and tends to be the most bioavailable. Critical warnings: ginseng interacts with blood thinners like warfarin, certain diabetes medications, and MAO inhibitors. If you're on any prescription medication, talking to your doctor is not optional, it's essential. Also, the quality matters enormously. Look for products that specify ginsenoside content as a percentage. Anything that just says ginseng extract without a concentration tells you almost nothing about what's inside. And manage your expectations. The studies showing real vascular benefits involve supplementation over 8 to 12 weeks or longer. This is a long game approach. 2,000 years ago, healers in Asia looked at this route and said, "This matters. This helps men." And now, with Doppler imaging and cellular level science, we can actually see why they were right. That's a powerful thing. An ancient herb with a modern explanation. Traditional wisdom validated by contemporary science. You are not a passive recipient of whatever your body decides to do. You are an active participant in the health of every artery and vessel in your pelvic region. And the more you understand that system, the more empowered you are to support it. If this video gave you value, hit like right now. It helps this content reach men who genuinely need it. Subscribe to Urology Education and Vitality for evidence-based content every week, and drop your city or country in the comments. I read every single one, and I want to know who's part of this community. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider before changing your supplement or treatment routine. Dr. James is a fictional educational persona created for content purposes.